She's got it taped down. I can't pull it up.
I'm not the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Major General Harry.
Should have been in all caps.
Who can say Echeverria? You go first.
Echeverria.
So there's a
Is that right?
Echeverria.
Echeverria.
There was someone I met the other day who said it in the sexiest way. And I was like, can you just follow me around and say my name all the time? Yeah.
I'll just make sure that you're aware. Myself and Water's going to be in Vegas for a suicide prevention conference. We'll get us a photo of it. We'll have some.
We'll have to go there too, that's for sure. It's great.
Yeah, I don't know if she's going to announce it there.
Oh, Chief can say my name for sure.
He's got it. Okay, perfect. And then you are introducing the sheriff again.
Huh?
I didn't recognize in your
Oh, okay.
jacket.
Yeah.
You know,
Sheriff
your wife
Phelan
must have
got
said
it.
last night.
Yeah.
I see you on
I
TV.
know, Mark. Super cool. General Barry, I just wanted to thank you again for all your help.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, you stuck us with Brett, but I'll take it.
Well, you know,
Gotta send the intern to
we
communicate with.
you know,
Just
when,
kidding.
I'll tell you the
He's
story
been-
one
You
day.
know, he may be new, but he's been.
Oh, no, he ain't
he's
new.
been killer.
No, he ain't new.
No way.
He's been practicing this, I think, for 4 years.
Longer. Can
Yeah,
we say
yeah,
longer?
maybe longer. He just hadn't figured out how to manipulate me yet to get there. But he's been practicing for a long time. Oh yeah, he got this down. I think he dances to work every day. If you look forward to it, you gotta have it.
They were out traveling. So I told them they
got bleeding? You got bleeding? Bright rider? You know how to say that? Bright rider? Bright rider. Bleeding bright rider. Bleeding bright rider. Bleeding bright rider? Bleeding bright rider? And then you got to introduce Stuart Turner.
Yeah, that's tough. But look how I scored today.
I see Charlie Bull. Must not kill it.
No, I
Yeah,
don't
you
have to.
chicken it.
Yeah, I
You
took
said
it right
Kelly.
out.
Kelly.
I'm not going there. I
We
already
just,
talked to her.
we just call her Kelly.
Yeah, that's fast. Cheveria.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 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 check. Emily.
Yesterday was good. I didn't move. Yeah.
All right, it's almost 4 o'clock. Before we get started, are everyone mics? Everyone working? Perfect. Great. Thank you so much for being here today for our joint update on the Davis fire. On behalf of the Office of the Governor, we appreciate your ongoing attendance here. Today, we're going to hear from our state, local, and federal partners on the ground. And today's focus is on the progress made by our first responders. So Governor Lombardo has asked that the Division of Forestry, National Guard, Department of Public Safety, and Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security to give all of the state's updates today. Governor Lombardo would like to thank our heroic firefighters and emergency management partners for their 24/7 efforts to keep our state and community safe and secure. Tomorrow, Governor Lombardo and Congressman Amodei will tour the fire damage and impacted areas together. Following their tour, they will give brief remarks to the media. Details on press availability will be released later this afternoon. With that, we're going to go ahead and get started on today's briefing. As a reminder, please hold all questions until the end. And our first speaker is Carl Schwope, the Incident Commander for Southwest Team 1. Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. Carl Schwope, Incident Commander, here with Southwest Team 1. And all it takes is one look up the hill and you can see the progress that's being made. Firefighters doing incredible work. You know, yesterday, to get through that weather event was pretty phenomenal, the work these folks are doing. Every morning, before we start the day shift, we have our morning briefing. And you can just tell the energy at the morning briefing this morning was a lot different than it has been. 5 days of a 24/7 day shift and night shift on this fire. The firefighters are, even after all that hard work, the energy this morning was crazy because they know they're winning. But we're not done yet. We still have folks evacuated. We still have parts of the fire line that need secured and contained, and we're going to continue to work hard to remedy both of those. So to get more into specifics on exactly where we're gaining containment on the fire, I'm going to introduce Jason Clausen, the Operations Section Chief.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jason Clausen, Operations Southwest Team 1. Operational update today, this afternoon on the Davis fire is, like Carl had mentioned, all the hard work and all the efforts yesterday, last night, and so far today has resulted all containment lines across the entire fire area are still holding. We have not had the need to fly any aviation aircraft assets today at all. All the hard work on the crews on the ground with the hose lay, spray, and water has been extremely effective today. We do have good air to fly the aircraft. We just don't have a need for it, which is a very good sign. Going around the fire just real briefly, Papa Zulu on the east side of Highway 580 still looks to be very good. No issues, no heat showing, no concerns with the containment on that side. On the north side of Division Lima, crews are working hard to extinguish the remaining hot spots that are just south of the Galena community. We should have most of those mitigated by the end of shift today. In Division Charlie, where the majority of our resources are working, and the majority of the heat that remains on the fire, several hand crews, engines, equipment, again, like I mentioned, working with the hose lay, spraying water, and furthering containment and security of those perimeters, and they're doing what we call mop-up. Depending on the fuel type, depends on how far we need to mop up to make sure that that line is secure, so it's a little bit different in each area, but progress is significant throughout today's operational period. And then lastly, on the south end, the southwest corner, Division Alpha, some of the steeper, more rugged terrain, we still have crews day and night working to contain and secure that the hand line. It's in that area with the same complement of resources, with engines being supported with hose lay, spray, and water. You may have noticed a little bit more volume of smoke this afternoon. There are still a few unburned pockets on the west side of the fire, on the lower end of the slope. About 10 to 20 acres that crews went in there to burn out to finish out any further threat of fire moving around. They're well interior and not a threat to the line at this time. We felt it was safe to clean those up now and just let it burn up and secure that perimeter. Thank you.
Sorry?
I'd like to introduce our next speaker, our incident meteorologist, Bladen Brightrider. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bladen Brightrider. I'm an incident meteorologist with the National Weather Service. Just want to kind of recap what we saw yesterday. It was a particularly dangerous situation, red flag warning. Those are incredibly uncommon. In fact, the last one that the National Weather Service in Reno had issued was back in 2019, and they have issued that product less than 10 times since its inception. So that really speaks to how extreme the weather conditions were yesterday compared to what we had seen previously. We saw gusts up near Slide Mountain around 77 miles per hour. Down here in Washoe Valley, we saw gusts up to 55 miles per hour. And our relative humidity during the day yesterday, going from all the way to the wee hours of the morning through to the evening hours, we saw single-digit relative humidity values, which is very, very uncommon. That's basically taking your afternoon conditions, which is when fire really thrives, and sticking them in the middle of the night and in the middle of the evening. So it was a very, very dangerous situation, and it's really a testament to how well the team has worked to get this thing under control. Because I have seen conditions like this before, and this is not what panned out. As we go into the future here, today we saw a lot quieter weather. We looked at calmer winds, mostly called slope winds, that are favoring terrain. That generally just means that they are so light in magnitude that they're not being justified by the upper level winds. Our relative humidity values were much improved. We saw things anywhere from 20 to 30%. And overall, our temperatures were a lot cooler, as I'm sure you've noticed. As we go into tomorrow, we're going to see almost a repeat of today, with the one change being that we'll see our winds turn a little bit more easterly, but again, they're going to remain very, very light. As we get into the weekend, however, we do have another disturbance that is starting to come inland as we go into Friday night and into Saturday. That disturbance will start to bring some gusty winds Saturday afternoon, and then some stronger winds on Sunday. Now, what is important to note up here on the matrix between what we're seeing on Sunday versus what we saw yesterday is, while these winds are looking a little bit more sporty, we're getting into that 25 to 35 mile per hour range with those gusts, possibly getting up into 45 mile per hour with these gusts. The big difference is going to be we're not going to have single-digit relative humidity values to work with. We're still going to be well above what we would consider critical relative humidity, which is 15% and below. So that is one thing that is going to help limit some of those critical fire weather conditions as we go into Sunday. And then Monday, we're actually going to see quite an uptick in our chances for precipitation. This is an older matrix. No, actually, this is the newer one. So we will see up to 60% for our precipitation chances moving into Monday. So that's going to be a big difference, given that we've seen a little bit of nothing leading up to that. We might even see some snow start to grace some of the peaks out there as well. So it's a big change moving into the weekend, and while we still have some critical winds to worry about, we won't have the critical RH that goes with it. It still creates a bit of a watch-out situation and something for us to monitor as far as the weather goes, but it is much reduced compared to what we saw yesterday. And now I'll pass it over to fire behavior with Stuart Turner.
Thanks, Bladen. So that's some good-looking weather coming up, and we should be thankful for that. That's going to give us some good working conditions. My name is Stuart Turner. I'm the fire behavior analyst for the team. What I do is I predict what the fire's going to do, where it's going to go, how big it's going to get. If you recall back, I predicted we were going to look at a 7-mile run with yesterday's weather. And that was still holding true. Everything was in place, the dry fuels, the weather materialized as Bladen had predicted. We had those high winds. What we didn't have is we didn't have any of the fires escaping outside of the control of our firefighters up there. The hard work they did Tuesday night, Wednesday day, paid off, changed all the predictions, and kept the fire within the footprint. And so by the hard work of those firefighters over those days, the planning we did, that work, it saved the day up there and kept everything in the footprint and no growth experience. And that was huge. They just crushed it out there. I can't stress that enough, that it was solely those firefighters up there and the work they did. It wasn't luck. It wasn't the weather changed. It was the hard work of those firefighters. That's all it was. Okay. So a couple things on the fire today. We're seeing greatly reduced fire behavior because the weather's changed. As was predicted. We don't have the winds. We have higher humidities, lower temperatures. So that's going to alter the fire behavior because it moistens up those fine dead fuels. So we're not seeing any kind of runs. We're not seeing any kind of perimeter growth. You heard for operations. We're inside taking out those interior pockets. And the way a fire burns, what people don't realize is it doesn't burn everything. There are trees left. There are little valleys left. There are pockets of fuel, for whatever reason, didn't burn. They could burn later. So we have to turn those black so they don't burn when we're not here and surprise everybody. So that's what they're up there doing now. And then mopping up, we're mopping up around the perimeter. Mopping up consists of going in there by hand, physically finding every little ember that's smoldering or burning in there. A burning log, a stump, anything that's on fire, and that firefighter goes in and puts it out, with or without water. And we're doing that, say, on this one, 200 feet in, all the way around the line. So as you can imagine, that's a big exercise. There's a lot of line out there, so it's a lot of work. But they're going in, and that's what they're doing now, to secure that line so nothing can jump out of that line into the fuels and then cause problems like we predicted for yesterday. So that's the mopping up. So you heard where the hot spots are. Division Alpha, we have a few. Division Charlie, we have quite a bit more in there, and they're working on those, and a little bit down in Division Alpha. Once they complete that task, then you're going to start to see more containment on there. So we'll be posting probably some more containment this afternoon up in the northeast corner, and then down the southeast corner too, where we're going to be posting some more. So you'll see those numbers increase, so stay tuned for that official containment to come out. As we progress through the next several days, we got good favorable weather today. We're going to have the good favorable weather tomorrow. So that's Friday. That gets us through that. We get another one on Saturday, another great day to work, and then Sunday the winds come back. Okay, winds alone aren't enough, though. Yeah, they're enough, but they're not going to make the thing move around a bit. We get a little bit more humidity in there, and that's going to help keep everything squashed down a little bit. It's not going to be similar to what we saw yesterday, not quite as scary, but it is enough wind that if something gets out, we'll see some perimeter growth. Not anticipating anything like that. We got 3 good work days like this. The crews will get that mopped up, get that line back so we don't have anything jumping the line, and things should hold without any trouble. What we can expect to see on Sunday is that wind is going to show us any weaknesses we have out there. Maybe we missed a stump or a log, and that wind fans those flames, shows us that little smoke, and then we can get back in there and take care of that. So what you should expect to see over the next 2 or 3 days is more wispy smoke like you're seeing out there today. No big column, no big movement, just a little bit of smoke as those fuels burn out. Consuming them is good because it makes them go away. And then I'll be introducing Chief Charles Moore. That was easy. Chief, you're up.
Right. I'm going to continue with the good news. We're now in a position where we're going to repopulate the communities as we can today, and I think most of the news media knows that we've repopulated Arrow Creek, which means that we've taken down the evacuation red zones on perimeter, and Arrow Creek, Fawn Lane, Callahan Ranch, all the communities that are north of Mount Rose Highway are now getting back to their homes. I don't know, I've been on trips before, and sometimes I've said to myself, I just want to go home. You know, have you ever been that tired? You just want to go home and crawl into bed, and I so understand what our community is going with. They just want to go home to their homes and get their lives back to normal. We're working hard on that, and I think over the next couple of days you're going to see us repopulate more communities because of the good work of the firefighters, and this incident is improving on an hourly and a daily basis. I just want to say what a beautiful community it is that we live in here, and I'm not just talking about the scenic beauty, I'm talking about the people. My cell phone is pretty much common knowledge. The phone number is common knowledge to just about everybody because it's been on every staff report I've written in the last 12 years. And the citizens know how to get a hold of me. My phone has been blowing up with 2 messages. One, thank you for saving my home. And sorry, I'm going to choke up. And I hope the firefighters are safe. And yeah, that really makes this job worth doing. So we're going to keep working on this until we're done. And thank you for being here. I am going to introduce Kelly Echeverria, the Washoe County Emergency Administrator.
Sure, Chief, get me all teared up and then introduce me to talk. Thank you, Kelly Echeverria. I'm the Washoe County Emergency Manager. Yesterday we were activated at our highest level. We had 32 different departments and agencies coming together to coordinate support for our first responders and for our community. So a huge thank you to all of them, but also I wanted to thank their families. We couldn't do what we do without our families holding down the fort at home. I know I couldn't, and so a huge thank you to all of them. It speaks to the community that Chief was referencing. So today, we downgraded our activation level just a little bit because there are less requests coming in from the field, so less staffing needed, and we are kind of transitioning to look forward to recovery and to what kind of resources the community might need. We're trying to put those in place now and to get those plans solidified so that if questions and problems arise, we're ready to respond with resources for the community. As the Chief mentioned, repopulation is occurring and will expand. You can check that on perimeter map. It should reflect what Incident Command has determined to be a safe area in coordination with NV Energy and re-energizing those areas as well. All homeowners that have lost homes have been notified by Washoe County. And so we are working with those individuals to make sure they have the resources and support that they need as they move forward into a new situation in their lives. As I said, we're transitioning to recovery, still coordinating with all of our partners. I do want to mention that tomorrow Waste Management will be delivering dumpsters at Galena Creek Trailhead on Callahan Ranch and Hunsberger Elementary School, and this is for food waste only. So we recognize that with the de-energization, there may be some spoiled food in people's refrigerators as they go home, and so we want to provide a place for them to take that. And so those 2 locations are available for that, just to get us through until Tuesday, which is the regularly scheduled trash pickup day. Now, Waste Management has said that they will pick up extra bags of whatever waste may be there, and then they will do an extra pickup on Wednesday as well. So hoping to take care of those needs as they come through. As the public returns home, if any additional issues come up, please contact Washoe 311 at 311 to let them know what's going on so they can relay that back to us and we can connect you with whatever you might need. That's the end of my report, and I will turn it over to Sheriff Balaam.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Balaam. A couple things real quick on the investigation, because we've been asked that several times. So we're still collaborating with Turkey Meadows Fire, and we would ask the community if they've seen anything at the beginning of this fire on Saturday, whatever that small nugget of information may be, please call in and give us that information. The investigation's ongoing, and as more comes out, we'll work with Turkey Meadows Fire and we will put that out. Also on the roadblocks, so right now we're roadblocked right at Bordeaux, on the backside of St. James, at Pawnee Lane, and so we're keeping those neighborhoods safe. The one thing I would say for all law enforcement is this, for that unfortunate criminal element that wants to take this opportunity, we have zero tolerance. We have active patrols between the Washoe County Sheriff's Office and the Nevada State Police, and if we find you in those communities, we will take the appropriate action, up until including arrest. These communities have been through enough, they've experienced enough, so my advice to those individuals that want to try to take that opportunity is stay away, please. When it comes to a couple other things I want to hit on, and I can't say it enough, thank you. As you all know, sometimes we have some fun bantering between fire and law enforcement. But since the beginning of this, I was out here on the first day. When it comes to fire, from the first responders on that initial call to when Southwest Incident Command came in, Team 1, my hat's off. They were amazing. As we see with their work up there, they did great things. On the law enforcement side, from day one, the Sheriff's Office, NSP, NDI, PNP, RPD, SPD, school police, every local law enforcement, NDOT, Reno Sparks Tribal, they came and within a 24-hour period, that first 24 hours, we made contact with 2,600 residents to either tell them to get out or those that were in the Arrow Creek area in the possible red zones to get ready to evacuate. And that was amazing. We could not have done that without that collaborative effort. So I want to thank all law enforcement and NDOT. The other thing is with Kelly and the Washoe County Emergency Management. Oh, Kelly over here. Anything we needed, we quickly let her staff know, and she made sure we got what we needed. And so that made all of our jobs easier as we tried to protect that community as fire protected the community from the fire. And then I want to thank Governor Lombardo and his team. Again, he came out the last 3 days. And I know at least for us, when we saw him, that he asked two questions. What do you need? How can I help? And again, anything we needed, the Nevada Air National Guard, we asked for them. They spooled up, and they've helped us with the roadblocks, with patrolling, again, to make sure those communities were safe. We could not have done it without the help of everybody from the state, local. So I just want to say thank you to that. The other thing is on the community support, like Chief Moore said, it is absolutely amazing. I think all of us are going to have to undo our buckles a little bit because the food is nonstop. The water, the drinks, and just the signs of support. Like Chief Moore said, you'll see as you drive out on the street and throughout the community, the thank you signs. Thank you for saving our community. I know there was 14, I believe, homes, and those residents lost their homes, and we absolutely sympathize, and we will be here as a community for you. But the community, even some of those that evacuated, they brought back food. And like you heard this morning with the team and all the great work, when that happens and those winds come up, but then you have the community rallying behind us, that energy is contagious, and you can see it in the work that's happening. So I just want to say on behalf of the Sheriff's Office and the community, thank you to all of our partners, and thank you to the community. And with that, Jesse Murray from Nevada Energy, and Nevada Energy and the utilities have been awesome at working with us too, so thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. First off, I just wanted to say, as a member of this community and on behalf of our almost 1,000 employees here in Northern Nevada and 2,500 employees statewide, I just want to extend my heartfelt thanks. I know I speak for all the members of the community. Our incident management team that has come in here, our local fire agencies, our law enforcement professionals, our state support, state forestry, national forests, and National Guard. They've been absolutely exemplary to work for and work with in this fight. And we couldn't be prouder to be a small part of this team, but I think we as members of this community have a lot to be appreciative of. And frankly, I'm proud to call the leaders and the firefighters that work in this community our neighbors and our friends, and we really do thank them. So our teams, both our gas and electric teams, were mustered at 8 a.m. this morning under the direction of the Fire Incident Command to begin the patrols and inspections that are required to start re-energizing some of the areas that the Fire Incident Command was comfortable with re-energizing. So we immediately launched our field teams to conduct those inspections, and proud to report that we've been able to restore approximately half of the customers that we had out this morning as of about 2 o'clock this afternoon. So those numbers were 2,379 customers this morning. We restored 1,150 customers, leaving now only 1,246 customers that are still out. So the communities that were restored align with the areas that were downgraded with the evacuation warning. So those are the communities of Fawn Lane, the Monte Vista area, Callahan Ranch, and the Timberline area. Our crews are also starting to conduct inspections further up the Mount Rose Highway. We do recognize that there is still some active firefighting going on up in primarily Division Charlie and Division Alpha, but we have been allowed access into many of those areas, and again appreciate the escort and safety oversight that we've had from our partners as far as getting into those areas. We have identified some additional damage on our electric infrastructure that's in the Joy Lake Road area and just up the mountain from Joy Lake Road. Those facilities, and we're still inspecting, so I don't have a final report though, but those facilities are in very steep terrain. We are prepared to work on those facilities. Some of them may actually require some helicopter flights, which we'll have to coordinate with Fire Incident Command if we do have to wind up flying some infrastructure into the area to restore. But nonetheless, we do feel in inspecting some of the areas down the slope from Joy Lake that we should be able to restore power there once Fire Incident Command feels it's safe to do so to restore some additional customers. I also want to cover very quickly our natural gas infrastructure. So we do serve, NV Energy does serve natural gas customers in these areas along the Mount Rose Highway. As part of the firefight, we did depressurize areas around the Montreux, St. James area. That was approximately 317 customers that were impacted there. So those pipes were de-energized. The gas restoration process is a little different than the electric restoration process. So when we go to repressurize a line, we have to be very methodical about how we repressurize those lines. And it does, unfortunately, involve some natural gas emissions that you may smell as we go to repressurize those lines. Now, of course, we won't do that until Fire Incident Command feels it is safe to do so. But natural gas has that distinctive odor for safety reasons, and so as the Fire Incident Command allows us to repressurize those lines, we do want to let the public know that they may smell natural gas in that area. If they do, that's normal, okay? And we will communicate with the public as far as when we do that so that there is some awareness in those communities that is occurring. But we will be working on that over the next 24 to 48 hours. There is also what we call a relighting process. So those natural gas appliances that are in the home need to either have a safety inspection or in some cases have their pilot lights relit. We won't actually conduct those operations until after the area is repopulated. We want our citizens to be in their home, for us to let them in their home to do those inspections. And so after you return to your home, if you're one of those gas customers that are impacted, we will provide information for you to call in, and we will come out and provide those relighting services. So it's important for our customers in those areas to understand that activity lies ahead of them in the coming days as we look to try and restore some of these communities to normal. I realize and want to again emphasize that we are aware of the frustration and tremendous impact that losing electricity has on a community. I want to just say once again that the reason for the de-energizations was either because our infrastructure was impacted or because we were doing it for the safety of the first responders in the community in the area. We couldn't be happier with what the outcome was yesterday. We had a lot of contingency planning in place. We have now completely switched into our restoration mode, ensuring that when the Fire Incident Command feels it's safe to do so, we are moving right behind to make sure that we're getting those communities re-energized as soon as possible. But that restoration process can take a little bit of time, and we ask our customers to have some patience with us. We are discovering damage. I would also point out that in areas where fire retardant drops were required, if that fire retardant gets on our power lines, that fire retardant actually can cause some additional damage to that line if we go to re-energize it, and even in extreme cases could be an ignition source. So in addition to having to restore some of the damage, we also may be faced with trying to get some of that retardant off of our lines before we re-energize. So that work also lies in the day ahead, but the days ahead. But I would reemphasize that we are fully staffed. This remains our top priority operationally for ND Energy. We continue to have resources from all throughout the state, and our commitment remains. It's a commitment I've made over the last several days, but we will be here until and as long as every customer is restored, and even after, as this community recovers. So with that, I appreciate your time, and I'll turn it over to our state forester of the Nevada Division of Forestry, Casey.
Thanks. Good afternoon, everyone. Casey, State Forester Fire Warden for the Nevada Division of Forestry. I, too, want to say thank you to our firefighters. It was a dire situation yesterday, and the hard work that they did actually did put us in a very, very good position to not have a 7-mile run, which was projected. And we're super proud of the work that they did together and the work that they continue to do as we continue mop up and trying to get this fire repaired. All of NDF's assigned assets and our contracted assets that I listed yesterday remain engaged and will remain engaged until the team no longer finds them necessary. The 2 super scoopers, the state contracted super scoopers that we did pull in that ran alongside the 2 federal super scoopers, those may stay in state for a little while. We're going to watch the situation and see if they're needed, and probably keep them around for a little bit longer following the demob here. Our focus now, as obviously, is to continue the mop-up on the fire, but as we start to shift into suppression damage repair and rehabilitation and emergency stabilization, unfortunately, in Nevada, when you get a little bit of rain following a fire where you've taken out most of the timber and the vegetation on the ground, stuff starts to move. So we will be focusing most immediately on what can we do to try to stop further damage from a potential flood situation. So we will be working together with everyone on that. And then our secondary focus is as staff start to get demobilized, they're tired, they're beat up, and we really want to focus on their mental health. As they come off this fire, they're going to be feeling things, they're going to have a moment to think, and they're going to have a moment to breathe, and they're going to start feeling the emotions of the repeated trauma that they see in these type of events. And I just want everyone to know that we have a peer support network, as do most of our partners. We work with our staff and the community, their wives, their kids. Anybody who needs to talk to us, we're here to help you. It's okay to talk about it. We have to talk about it. So we really appreciate the hard work of all of our crews and everyone here. And now I will pass it off to Major General Ondra Berry.
She's a pro, ain't she? Major General Andre Berry, the Adjutant General for the state of Nevada. I think the word for the day would be cautiously optimistic, because that's the message you keep on hearing. So I very much appreciate that. Also will say, in the National Guard, in the military, our top priority is readiness. Readiness for the warfight, readiness for the homeland. And I think everybody here will say there's a lot you do. You see the end result of that readiness by how they show up. You don't have to learn to engage into the fight or the fire. So the readiness that we've had collectively together has been phenomenal. and I say it in all sincerity. And I very much appreciate the fact that we've had a chance to work with some of the greatest leaders. And I'll just say, as I listen to each of you talk, I was just like, man, the fire's in trouble because of what they do. So appreciate that. We currently have 3 missions still going on, 140 personnel that are involved. First of all, they're involved with the overall safety. And I'm a little nervous that now our airmen and soldiers like working with the sheriff's department. That makes me very nervous. This is not a recruiting mission. Our flight crews, they're disappointed because they can't fly today. You know, that's what they want to do and they want to help. But they're available out there still. And then we have those who are the hand crew, which I said yesterday, and I just have to concur. When you're working these hours after hours after hours, that's what's making the difference. That's what's making the difference. And our people get a chance to contribute to that and work side by side with those who know how to do it great. So we thank you for that. They like the fact that there have been 246 drops, which the flight crew wants you to know that they've been working hard. I think we have now 8 trucks and 16 personnel on 3 shifts that are still working. And what the significance of this current mission is, this is the fastest I've ever seen us approve our personnel going into a state active duty assignment. Literally within seconds after we let the governor know, he is saying yes, and to whatever needs to be done. That's unprecedented. It just doesn't happen that way. But that's a testament to how the governor recognizes that this is about the safety and security and the quality of life of our community and has made it happen. So it's unprecedented. And I think I can also say, in the event things would go the other way, that we are still here to help and assist you in any way possible. And we have more personnel that are available that now want to be a part of the fire, but that's not the right answer. So the only message that when I talked to a couple of the soldiers was just to say they love interacting with the citizens, and they're just, they want to get back into their homes, has been said. So I just emphasize the patience and just let those who are the subject matter experts and really know what's going on, give them the opportunity to do their best work. This last thing I would just say is, and we say this sometimes, is just thank you for being in the arena. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being out front. Thank you as a community for what you do. We many times critical incidences show what life is all about, but this is just who we are on a regular basis, and lifting each other up and supporting each other. And I look forward, and I hope somebody puts together a big celebration so we can recognize these first responders, because they have done yeoman's work, and this is a case study for the nation to see. So having said that, I introduce at this time Lieutenant Andrew Granata from the Nevada State Police.
Thank you, sir. Greetings, Lieutenant Granata, Nevada Highway Patrol, Nevada State Police. Thanks for having me. Just a quick update. We still have personnel working road closures. We currently have 3 or 4 of them still standing, so we're working arduously to get those lifted. If you are approaching those road closures, please do so safely. We want to get you guys in your community as fast as possible. The only way to do that is to decrease your speed, reach those barricades, talk to our personnel, and we'll do our best to lift it. If I look a little disheveled, it's because of all the work that we've been doing on the roadside and within your community. So we're doing the best we can. Please be patient with us. Overall, we've had support from the Washington County Sheriff's Office and the Department of Transportation, along with 16 other law enforcement agencies within our community. So that's been a big perk for us to keep you guys safe. Our biggest goal is to get you guys home. We're community members as well. Never been so proud to be a community member within Washoe County. And please be safe. Please be patient. We'll get you home as soon as possible. Thank you. And I'm introducing Colonel Brett Compton, DEM. I apologize.
I'm Brett Compton with the Division of Emergency Management. So from the division, we are moving the Nevada Emergency Operations Center from a full to a partial activation, mirroring what Washoe County is doing with their Emergency Operations Center. We supported the arrival of several engines, I believe 8 that came up from southern Nevada last night, to provide relief to folks that are out on the line. We will continue to synchronize and serve as a hub for information and potential resource requests at the state level. On behalf of all state government, I'd like to thank the first responders and the public safety professionals for their Herculean efforts, and Herculean is not an understatement.
what you guys did is sort of probably a miracle. I'd like to thank the public for their cooperation and their understanding. We know and we've heard numerous times today that every person up here, every person on the line is working hard to get people back in their homes as soon as it is safe. We couldn't be prouder at the state level of the community coming together and in the face of this adversity. Really what we've seen over the last couple of days between the responders and the community is the Nevada way in action. So for that, we couldn't thank you enough. I believe at this point we will open it up to questions.
14 homes were lost from this fire. Can you tell us what exactly occurred on that day? And if more homes are going to be impacted?
I can speak to what happened. I just want to correct one thing. So it was 11 homes and 3 other buildings.
11 homes and 3 other buildings.
Correct.
Are any more expected to be impacted?
So the question there, any more homes expected to be impacted, and we do not expect any more homes to be impacted.
You mentioned that there's going to be rescue going coming here on the weekend, and you will need air support for today. What went into that decision to not have air support to possibly rescue and larger on the fire?
Well, right now, where the fire's at, the firefighters can access all of that. The intensity of the fire is such that they can access the edges of the fire and do all the work they need. There's hose lays around all the parts of the fire that they're working so they can get water there. There's a risk and a cost to flying aviation. And so when you put all that together, we just didn't need aircraft today.
Can you briefly go over where the hot spots are still burning?
Okay, so the question was where the hotspots remaining? So on the north end of the fire, in Division Charlie, Highway 431, pretty much all the way around Division Charlie, and then around the southwest corner of Division Alpha. Those are the areas that have the most concentrated areas of heat left on the fire.
Do you have any more questions? Yes, actually. So you were saying, asking the public for any nuggets of information on the day that the release started. Can you elaborate more on what kind of information you're looking for?
So what we're looking for is, we believe the fire started somewhere around Davis Creek. So anybody that was in that area that may have seen something that just didn't look right or was suspicious, that's the type of information, whether they were driving away, walking away, hiking in that area. So anything like that, even though they may think, it was just somebody visiting or didn't mean much, again, that little bit of information can help us solve that investigation. So that's what we're looking for.
Is there any reason to believe that this could have been arson or something of the sort?
Right now, it's too early in the investigation to know. You're welcome.
Major General Barry said that they're still cautiously optimistic as far as the fire. Like, could you talk about what the potential worst case scenario where trouble spots might be that people would be good to know?
Well, we gotta remain cautiously optimistic until we have black line represented on the entire perimeter of the fire. And that's just related to that it only takes one spark to catch the right wind to blow across the line at any time. So that's why we stay cautiously optimistic, but that's why we have all the resources we do in those areas identified where the majority of the heat is still left. And the rest of the perimeter, we still have firefighters on the ground there as well, just ensuring that all of those hot spots, like Stuart had mentioned, are being taken care of.
There also seems to be some using social media in terms of people like where they can go home or who to go home. I guess it's hard to just look at a map. Can you talk about these neighborhoods?
So the neighborhoods that still are basically not allowed to go in is Montreux, Joy Lake, Galena Estates, and St. James. So everything else from that is in the yellow, and we opened that up earlier. And again, we'll be working with fire, and as they make progress in that, we always communicate, and with Nevada Energy and the other utilities, and as it's safe to go in, we will remove those roadblocks and move them up as we did earlier today around 1.
Another question. Do you have any idea on containment numbers and what that might look like in the next day or so?
Like Stuart had mentioned, by the end of today's operational period, we're expected to increase containment. And those areas will primarily be in the northeast corner, up around Papa, probably around to this drop point 56 location. And then additionally, down on the south end from Highway 580 and Division Alpha, coming up to about 8 or 9 drop point up in this area. What that percentage is, we haven't calculated it yet. Like I mentioned on our Facebook video, the calculation is very simple. The perimeter in distance, and if we draw a line on the black side, whatever that distance is divided by the overall perimeter gives us our percentage of containment.
Any more questions? Great. I think with that, we're going to conclude today's press briefing, but if you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out for resources. Thank you all.
You okay? All right.
Thank you.
Here we go. This is bro. We can do that. We can't do this.